No, it won't.
That's not good.
Now let's try this card. Oh, it's it's not doing it.
You have to finagle it.
Yeah, it's not doing it. We're going to try this one more time. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? It says that we're live on Instagram.
Wow.
It says we're
Yay.
live on Instagram. Now, ladies and
Yay. Let's
gentlemen,
do
there
this.
there was a moment of silence because oh, see, let me okay, ladies and gentlemen, when you turn on this podcast, you're going to be wondering what's going on. So I will clue you in on what's going on right now. First of all, I am joined by the amazing Magen Grays.
Thank
And
you.
I added something to StreamYard because I wanted my Instagram audience and all the Instagram audience to actually be able to partake in these amazing interviews. So I added Instagram to the queue, but I don't know if it's working, but we are going to find out once this interview is done. But to the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a conversation with. I am your humble host, Floyd Marshall Jr. And today I am joined by TV and film makeup extraordinaire, Magen
Thank
Grays. The
you.
resume is long. So make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you subscribe to Apple Podcasts because you definitely want to listen to this interview, especially if you are someone who is thinking about breaking into the industry via the makeup world. So without further ado, Magen Grays, welcome to a conversation with.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Like I was stating before, this has been a long time in the making, but we got here and we're here and
Yes,
I'm here. I'm
yes.
here to spill the tea.
Uh,
What do the people want to know?
Well, look, there are some things that I want to know because I'm always curious about who did the makeup, why they did it that way, but more importantly, who did the makeup and the hair for the black folk.
Exactly.
Because sometimes I've seen some things and I'm like, okay, I need to know who did that
And
makeup.
that is something that we a lot of us artists that are in the industry are trying to change. We're trying to change to where as you see more of us on set, working in behind the scenes. And it hasn't been like that for a long time, but I will say that we have made a lot of changes here in LA, New York, and Atlanta. You see a lot more of us doing the makeup and heading
Okay,
the departments, which is
okay.
huge. I
That's
don't think
that's
people understand how huge that is.
wow, that's great. And we're definitely going to get into that because I definitely have some questions along those lines. But before we get to that, how did you get started in the business?
Oh, well, years ago, when I was a young whippersnapper, no, this plane, I started in hair in high school. I went to high school. When I was in high school, I went to cosmetology school. My grandmother owned a salon. I had my auntie who did hair. And so that's what I thought I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to start off doing hair. So I went to cosmetology school in high school. I finished. By the time I graduated high school, I had my license. So I was finished and started working in the salon. My sister used to work and dance and be in music videos and stuff. And there were times that I would have to step in and do her hair and makeup because there was no one on set to do her makeup. And there was one music video where she was on set and the lead and the artist was chocolate, real chocolate, dark. I'm not gonna mention names, but he was real chocolate. And the makeup artist that they had on set could not do his makeup. And he saw that I did my sister's makeup and was like, "Hey, who did her?" Um, and I was young. I was technically not even supposed to be on set.
Mm,
And they were like, "Oh, she did it or whatever." So I stepped in with just what I had, and knowing that's one thing I teach makeup artists all the time is color theory. And knowing with the little things that I had, I was able to do his makeup and he was happy. And when I did that, being on set and seeing the lights and the cameras and the director and I was like, oh my gosh, this is something I really want to do. But it took a long time for me to really hone and focus on what I wanted to do because I wanted to do makeup. I was in the music industry. I wanted to sing. I wanted to do this and that. But then when I really focused and stopped and was like, no, this is where my calling is. This is where I want to be. It's been that ever since. And that was years and years ago. But I started on one little simple music video. And the rest is history.
Okay. So you do this artist who shall remain nameless.
Yeah.
You do his makeup and word starts to get around.
Yeah. So what happens is because I was a singer and a songwriter, a lot of people don't know this about me. I was a songwriter and I wrote for a lot of artists and would be in the studio with a lot of artists. And my counterpart, Gigi, my cousin, we were a writing duo team. She'd be like, oh, make me do your hair and makeup. And I look at her like, girl, don't be telling me why I do that anymore. But then people started calling me, hey, I remember when we were in the studio, they said you do makeup and hair. And I was like, yeah. And I had no kit. My grandma, who had this kit, it was like, take my kit, and I used hers. If you know anything about, I'm going to shout her out because that's my queen, Marita Douglas. Any and everything that you need, that woman has it. I was like, Grandma, I got called to do a music video, but I got called to do this. I don't have this. And first thing we did is we went to IMAX. She took me to IMAX. All makeup artists know what IMAX is. And literally splurged and got me my first kit, my brushes, my travel case, everything. She was like, no, if you're going to go out there, you're going to go out there and you're going to do it right. And so once people started seeing that I could do it, I started getting called. But I will say, because I'm a huge Christian and God placed me in certain areas for people to see me and to see my worth and my talent. And that's what catapulted me to the next level.
So you took cosmetology. Where did you go to high school?
I went to high school in Upland and Ontario, California. I'm born and raised Cali, IE baby.
Okay. Because I went to a trade school myself. So when I was listening to an interview that you had done and you talked about going to cosmetology classes in high school, I said, oh, she went to a trade school, because we had all the cute girls were in cosmetology, back in the day, all the boys wanted to date them, but we weren't good enough.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
They don't have it anymore, which is very sad.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, it was called ROP. And if you had kept a certain GPA and you wanted to graduate early and you already knew what you wanted to do, your counselor set you up. And for me, I went to Salon Success Academy in Upland, California. And you can only do it when you were in the 10th grade. So 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, you were able to, you had to do all your core classes first. And then by lunch, you were gone and you were doing your ROP classes. And so that's how I got it. And I'm so grateful that I did it then, because to see how much it cost because I did go back to school to get a barber. I'm a licensed barber too, and esthetician. So I did go back, but to see how expensive it is, and they don't have this program anymore, which is really sad. Especially in California, there's a lot of young people who want to do barbering, and they don't have the ROP program. But I was able to get through and finish through ROP. It was covered by the state. I didn't have to pay for it. My kit was free. Everything that I needed to succeed was set up and ready for me. And I wish that they brought it back.
Yeah. For some strange reason, they got rid of a lot of trade schools. Same thing here. Not understanding that you need those trades. Somebody has to fix your AC.
Yeah.
Somebody has to fix your car. Now you do have, colleges geared towards that, but the transition was so much easier when you had, because in the 9th grade, you got to go to all the different trade classes to see which one you were going to land on. And then in the 10th grade, we got to pick. So you basically had a 3-year apprenticeship.
Yes.
Going
and so by the time you graduated, you were ready.
Yeah.
And I wish that, because I had so many guys that I went to high school with that did the mechanic program, and they're huge now. They work. One of my friends, he's like one of the head mechanics for Ford.
Hmm.
But he started in high school, so they didn't have those programs. They just don't. I look at my sons. I have three boys that are, in their 20s now, and they didn't have an ROP. They did a different way, but they didn't
Hmm.
have ROP in college. I tell people all the time, college is not for everybody. Some people
No.
be pushing college on people and be like, why are you pushing it on them when they gonna fail and that's a waste of money? Like, don't.
Hmm.
It ain't not everybody is not meant to go to college, but everybody does have a dream and a goal of something that they want to do. Find what it is, nurture it, and push them towards it.
And you know what's interesting about that? Because I work a blue collar job.
Mm-hmm.
I make very good money.
Mm-hmm.
And for some, and now we are totally off makeup, but this is about
Yes.
profession. So we're going to get back to makeup. But
Yes.
I think this is important for people to hear. I work a blue collar job. I'm a union member, 31 years, about to
Mm-hmm.
retire, great pension and all of that. And I think this country kind of got away from blue collar. And like you said, they really started pushing college and white collar jobs,
Mm-hmm.
not understanding that some of these blue collar jobs make a hell of a
Hell of a
lot more
lot.
money than these
And
white collar jobs.
yeah, and my son, I'm so proud of him. He went to Job Corps.
Mm,
We realized that college was not for him. He
right.
wanted to do, he's an artist. He draws. He's a wonderful artist. But Kyrie, his name is Kyrie. When he has a plan, he writes his plan out. He's very detailed. It's ridiculous. He writes his plan out to go to the grocery store. But anyways, he writes his plan. And he was like, okay, so I'm going to do Job Corps. He talked to my aunt. My aunt went to Job Corps. And he was like, okay, I'm going to take welding. Finished and got all his certificates and stuff in welding. Now looking for work to be a welder. But his goal was, I'm going to this because I want to do animation. I want to learn animation. But I looked at how much welders get paid. So welders get paid the amount that can pay for my education to become an animation. So that was his plan. So now that his plan is, and it was just like, wow, okay, well, that's what we're gonna do. What's gonna do? I tell people all the time, those blue collar jobs. If you look up how much welders and underwater welders get paid, if I was young and I could do it, I would be doing it because they get paid a lot of money.
Yes. 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 We went to a birthday party. My wife and I went to a birthday party. Ladies and gentlemen, trust me, we're going to get back to the makeup.
Yes, we are. We are. We
But
are. We are.
we went to a birthday party a few weeks ago, and the granddad was there, and he was a retired commercial plumber. And we were talking, and he said he's really trying to get, young African American men into that profession. And he said after 5 years, you become, it was the word he used, I can't remember. But the thing that stuck out to me the most was he said that after 5 years of being an apprentice, you then can make $90 an hour and up.
Wow.
Now think about that. If you're 18 and you're just coming out of school, or if you're a young man or young woman in your 20s and you're kind of floundering, and something like that comes along. Let's say, for instance,
That
you're 22. At the age of 27, you can make $90 an hour, and that's the baseline.
yeah.
That's the baseline.
That's about what welders are getting. And
So
I
we're
said,
saying all
okay,
that to say, get into the trades. So back
yes.
back to we took a
Back
slight
to the makeup,
detour
but back to the makeup.
back to the makeup. So
Makeup is a trade.
it's a
Not
trade.
everybody can do it, but
It, it, it
it is
is
a
it
trade.
is definitely a trade. And you've worked with some pretty big names. You've worked with Beyonce, Ciara, French Montana, just to name a few. So what did it take for you to get to that point to have people like that in your chair?
Um, whew, it took a lot of hard work and a lot of day and a lot of trade work. For some reason, people think makeup artistry when you work with these big people sometimes, or that you get these big checks and these big things. And a lot of times we were working for free, especially when I
Mm,
first started. I started off doing a lot of things free because I wanted to get in that door. I wanted to get in that door to where the people were calling me. And so, um, how I met French Montana was I was doing background makeup on one of his music videos. His artist was late. They came in and asked the group of us of who wanted to do his grooming. And for some reason, and that's another thing, people are scared to speak. I've never been one to speak up for. I was like, I'll do it before anybody else can say anything because they were taking too long to respond. I was like, I got it. I'll do it. Bring him here. And what people tell me all the time when they sit in my chair, they were like, what sets you apart from different makeup artists? One, I don't pick up my phone and try to take pictures with you. I'm not doing it.
mm,
I don't sit there and Google Gaga over you. I treat you like a human. And a lot of people are like, you're like the mom. So like they sit in my chair. I'm like, all right, cool, let's get it. I'm gonna have a regular conversation. I made him laugh. He was like, who is this? Because she needs to come with me because he did something. I was like, why are you acting like that? And I didn't even know him. And it was just a
mm,
reflex. Sometimes people tell you, oh, Megan, calm down. But my reflexes sometimes was like, are you serious? And he said something and I was like, what? And he was like, oh yeah, she's real. You know what I mean? Like it didn't phase me who he was. I just saw a talent in my chair. I'm going to take care of him and we're going to do the next person. And so once that happened, I ended up getting an agent. And then my agent used to start putting me in different rooms. People would call and she would submit my book and submit who I worked with. And then I started getting more and more work. I don't have an agent now because I'm more in TV and film. That's when I was doing more red carpet stuff. But yeah, now one thing I love is TV and film. That's being on. I don't care how long we're on set. We've been on set 16, 17 hours a day, and I absolutely, it's like a drug. I love it.
why?
Whew, it's the rush of, and for me, it's seeing what I created come to life. So when I read a script, when I say you get a script and you read it and then breaking it down and getting to know the characters, I really look. When I read the script, I already see it playing in my head, so I see it 3D. So I'm like, oh, okay, they're going to do this. And once I know what the actor or it looks like, and I talk to the director and I know the character, to see that character come to life because they become a different person. You change their facial structures, you change their hair, you change everything for them to become that character. And to see that character, that person, that fictional character come to life is really like, wow, I did that. Okay, I did that. You know what I mean? And to see the reaction of other people, like, oh, that doesn't even, how you watch a movie and sometimes you don't even pay attention to who the person is, the real person. You're so captivated in who that character is. That is one, good makeup, good costuming, good hair, and good acting. All those together created that character. And I like being able to be a part of that.
So you answered a question that I was going to ask you because again, I researching and when you talked about reading the scripts, I was struck by that because I said I had absolutely no idea that makeup artists read scripts. Now, is
Yes.
that everyone, or is that just you,
It's
or is
supposed
it
to be.
everyone at that level?
It's supposed to be. If you are the department head, I even have my assistant makeup people when I'm
Hmm.
in my trailer. You have to read the script too. Read that script and understand what's going on. Because if we have a scene, if a makeup artist doesn't read the script and you have a scene, you were like, well, why they gotta cry? What's going on? You don't know what's going on. So you're lost in translation. You just sitting there and you don't know what they doing next. If you don't pay attention. So if you read the script, you'll know exactly where the character starts and where they end, what their midpoint is. And so you'll be able to level up the makeup if you need to, or take it down if you need to, if you understand what's being said in the script.
Hmm.
So we
So,
get the script, we break
okay.
them down, I actually have a book coming out where I teach you how to break down a script, and break it down on how many days that person has looked like that, all of those. All of that is part of makeup for TV and film. Now, if you're doing red carpet and celebrity work, it's different. You don't have that. Even commercials, people don't even realize, even commercials, you get a script. You get a small little
Mhm.
script, you just glance over real quick and see what it is. You know what I mean? But you have to truly, truly, truly pay attention to the details in the script. If you read working on set and you don't know that, oh, the person got shot in the head, and you're like, oh, I'm supposed to do blood? Yeah. Like
Mm.
you're supposed to know what's happening in the scene. So yeah, it's very every single department head and key makeup artist get the script. They break down the script. We have a meeting with the director. We have a meeting with costumes. We have a meeting with hair. All of us on one call talking about the characters and how the characters are, how they want them to look, what's going on. Um, and it's all of us together working cohesively makes the project run smooth.
Yeah, you know what? And now that you're talking about it, I see the logic in that because it could be a scene with where someone is spiraling down into alcoholism. I'll just use that as an
Hmm.
example. They're going to look a lot different than someone who has been an alcoholic and a drunk for years.
Yes.
Everything's going to look different. So they may still, have some fullness in their face. They may not look as gaunt and undernourished or anything like that.
Yes.
Whereas someone that's really been in it, you can see a difference in their eyes, their
Yes.
skin color, things like that.
All
So
of that.
that would make sense as to how the makeup artists would make them look in a scene because that would really throw the audience off. You say, okay, well, he or she just started out. Why the hell you got them looking like they've been an alcoholic for 30 years? That
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
you have to make it the progression. And then also it's important because when you're reading a script, I note, okay, so she was shot or stabbed, at this time. The wound would look different depending on how long she's had it. So if it's fresh and we're just doing it and it's only a few hours or days, then it's gonna but if you've had a scar or if you've had something for years and in the movie it's progressing in those years, you have to see that progression because it's not going to make any sense if you don't. So that's why one thing I stress all the time because there's not a lot of African American makeup artists that do special effects. We need to do that. That's another avenue of elevating your makeup, elevating the character.
Mm.
So, yeah, reading the script is one of the biggest things all the makeup artists need to do. All if you want to work on female TV and film, you need to understand how to read a script, how to break it down, and take your notes.
So how did you? Because you just mentioned special effects. How did you get into special effects? How did
I
that
got
happen?
thrown into it. I was
Okay.
on set one day, and I knew that there was a shootout and all this other stuff. I knew I was ready for blood, but they told me that they had a special effects artist on set, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. I don't have to do that part. But they come to find out they thought I was a special effects person, and I was like, I don't do special effects. I don't know. But me being me, I'm never going to not feel it's so bad. It's good, but it's bad. I'm never not going to rise to the challenge. I'm never if you give me something and you think I can't do it, I'm gonna figure out how to do it. Like
Mhm.
period. That's just who I am. So people were like, "How do you make?" All I know is the guy got shot with a shotgun and his brains was on the on the mirror. And I was like, how do I make brains? So in my head, I'm like, what is around me? Because I had nothing. All I know that there was a crafty section, there was a bag of chips. I will never forget this. And they were like, wow, she made brains out of a bag of chips, bananas, and granola. I
Mm.
put it all in a bag, mushed it up, put blood in it, made it look, and then threw it on the window. And they were like, okay, there's your special effects. I
Wow.
don't know if it looks good. But then when the show came out and we saw, I was like, oh wow, it looked really good. But once I got that, it ignited something in me, like, oh, I need to know how to do this. I really need to understand what I'm doing and why it looks like this. So then for a long time, if you looked at my Google search, you were like, what is she searching? I was searching body parts and all kinds of stuff because I wanted to know why the body looked like that, why we had to do makeup this way. And I just dove deep down into learning how to do that because I've always wanted to be the artist where there was nothing that I could not do and I could not handle. Again, being African American and being a department head, most of my jobs, I've always been the department head. There are times that I keyed, but I've always been the lead. So I always wanted to be able to handle every single situation that the production threw at me. So I always just was like, I have to know how to do this and I have to be good at it.
Mhm.
And then, but I also was like, I have to have somebody on my team who's better than me. Because if I had somebody on my team who knew special effects and was better than me, I'm going to learn from them too. So now that I know how to do it. So I literally was thrown on set. That they gave me 15 minutes to make some brains and do blood on the guy's head, and I did it. I
Wow.
literally, they were like, "Oh," and I was like, "I only have like this much blood. Like, what do you like? Are you serious? You told me that I would only have to do, sometimes." Especially small independent films, because they don't have the budget to have a big team, they're going to ask people, hey, can you do this or can you do that? And you have to be prepared for that. So I have two kits. I have a special effects kit, I have a beauty kit, and a hair kit. Well, three kits. And I always make sure that I have everything that I need in case they throw it at you. And
Mm.
that was years ago. Now people are like, oh no, you got to call me. No, like now it's different. It's a different story. But when I first really started doing effects, and I wanted to do it all the time, once I did it, I was like, okay, is this gonna have special effects in it? Or is this gonna have? Because I wanted to hone my craft and really be good at it. So when you looked at it, you couldn't tell that it was fake.
Mm.
Mhm.
Wow. So I was listening to an interview and you were talking about how you rebranded yourself. And the phrase that came to mind, you're in the music industry, so you're going to know this phrase: constant elevation causes expansion.
Mhm.
And that kept running through my mind when you were talking about how you kind of had to reinvent yourself during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So can you talk about the importance of branding yourself and then kind of doubling down and sticking with that brand so that's what you're known for?
I truly believe that when you try to perfect, for me, when you try to perfect every single thing, and especially makeup, there's so many different types of makeup. You have your bridal, you have your commercial, you have your e-commerce, you have your red carpet, you have theater, you have TV, film. There's all of those are different aspects of makeup. Makeup is applied differently in each every area.
Hmm.
So for me, I was literally trying to do all of those. And what happens is I spread myself too thin and I couldn't focus on one thing and be good at one thing. So for me, yes, I know how to do red carpet. Yes, I know how to do bridal. Yes, I know how to do theater makeup. But my overall goal is one day I want to win that Emmy for makeup on a movie. I want to win that Emmy on Oscars. So if I pull myself in so many different directions in my craft, I can't hone in on one. So for me, during the pandemic, I was like, okay, I ain't making no money. Ain't nobody telling me to do nothing. Let me continue to. I watch so many movies. People think they were like, "Megan, you always watching a movie. You always watch a TV." Really? I'm dissecting. Like I watched and I'm like, okay, I stopped while I'm watching the movie. People say my kids say hate it. While I'm watching a movie, I'm looking on IMDb like who's the makeup department head? Who did this? What's the producer's name? Who's this director? I'm looking at everything. So I'm like, okay, write their name down, write their name down, right then because I'm gonna send you sooner or later somebody gonna get my resume in their inbox and they're
Hmm.
gonna see and I'm gonna be ready. But I want it again, like I said, I want to win that Emmy. I want to win that. You know what I mean? I want to win that. So I had to stop. Okay, Megan, I'm not doing bridal, period. Bridal is not my thing. I don't want to deal with the bridezillas because I already know my attitude and I'm quick to clap back. So that's not my area. That's not where I need to be. Where I need to be is where I love, where I feel most appreciated, valued, and heard was when I do TV and film makeup. And so I was like, okay, I'm a TV and filmmaker and I love to educate and teach people. So that's where I feel like my strength is. My strength is doing TV and film work and helping other artists get to where I am and surpass me.
Hmm.
So that's why I was like, I can't keep doing, I'm on set for a TV and then my agent called and be like, hey, I need you to go do a red carpet. But I'm like, I'm on set. Agents don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? They don't want, because that's money that they're not getting
Right.
because I'm not available. So I was like, I have to figure out what I'm good at and where I thrive at. And where I thrived was doing TV and film.
Hmm. Okay.
I hope that
So
answered your question.
that did. Thank you so much. So you're a woman of color.
Yes.
You're in the Hollywood film industry,
Hmm.
predominantly run by white males.
Hmm.
What were and are the challenges, setbacks, and some of the pitfalls that you faced being a woman rather of color in the industry?
It's not a lot of us. That's what I will say. There are
Mhm.
not a lot of us who are in the department head positions. A lot of times you want to work on these bigger productions and you're trying to figure out who is the lead, and they're white, they're not African American. So it's trying to get into those doors tend to be hard. That's why when people hire me and I'm the department head, I had one, it was a Disney Fox. This is just a scenario, a Disney Fox project that I was doing. And my good friend, he was the lead, black black man, and he was like, I want Megan to be the department head for this project. I went through the tests and trials that I had to go through just to prove that I was good enough to lead the department and to and it wasn't even coming from Fox, it wasn't coming from Disney, it wasn't even coming from the execs. It was coming from the union. The union was
Mm.
like, well, why don't you hire someone who's in the union already that can do it? And they were like, our lead wants her. We interviewed her, and she is well, well more qualified to handle it. I had to do, um, I had tests. Each test that I had to take was at least 4 to 5 hours long,
Mm.
and I had to pass it with an 80 or above in order for them to even give me a waiver to work on it. And I was like, I called so many other of my, white counterparts that are makeup artists, and they ride for me. And I was like, has this ever happened before? Like, I'm like, yo, has anybody ever had to go through this just to get a waiver to work on a pilot? It wasn't even a full season. It was just a pilot. And they were like, no, nobody's there. She was like, they're giving you a hard time for no reason. And I was like, okay. So then I understood, okay, I know where my calling is to call you out, because now I'm gonna call you out because now you're trying to stop me from working because you think I can't handle it. And is it because I'm black? No, it's not because you're black. It's that we have black artists all the time. When people say that to me, I'm like, okay, no, you don't. Okay. Or when
That's like
that's
the
like
I have a
that's
black friend. I have a black
yeah,
friend.
no, no. And it's crazy because it's not even the other makeup artists that are white in the industry,
Mhm.
because there's so many that I know that are like, oh, I know Megan is dope. I don't understand why you're. I get calls at that time. They were like, I don't even understand why you're not even in the union. Why are you not in? Like, you should have been in a long time ago. And I just once we started, once the actors truly started fighting for us to come and to be in those places and those spaces, that's when it started to change. That's when they were like, okay, we have to add more of us in the trailers to help make them feel more comfortable. Because there are times when you're sitting in a chair. I'm yellow, okay? People always think I'm mixed. I'm not. My mama black, my daddy black. I'm black, but I'm light. And I feel like if it's hard for them to color match me, I know it's hard for them to color match somebody who's 4 or 5 shades darker than me. But when you have someone who looks like you, who talks like you, who understands your culture, it makes it a more safe space for you to feel comfortable in who you are. And so sometimes a lot of people don't understand. Well, I don't understand why you only want a black artist, or you only want somebody who black does hair. It's because I don't have to explain, girl, my hair nappy right here, so make sure you did it. Like, it's not, it's just, oh, I got you, girl, I got you, sis. Let me lay them edges for you real quick. Or let me, you know what I mean? Oh, I got some cocoa butter over here. Here you go. You know, because we put lotion and Vaseline on everything. You know what I mean? And when you have someone that you don't even have to explain it to, it makes you feel more like, okay, I'm in a safe space. And so now it's becoming, I'm so happy that to see that are so many more black department heads. So now we can pull in our people. So for me, when I department head a show, my whole team is black. If they're not black, they black. If they're Latino or Asian, because those, we don't get those opportunities. And that's one of the main reasons why I tell people, oh, I only want to do beauty. You want to work in TV and film, but you only want to do beauty makeup? That makes no sense to me. It's an oxymoron. It really is, because if you're on TV and film, you have to know how to do a bruise. You have to know how to do a cut. You have to know the difference between arterial blood and flow blood, or like, you have to understand that kind of stuff because you have to do it. So I stress, I'm going to keep talking about it. I keep telling people all the time, got to learn special effects. If you want to work in TV and film and be a TV and film makeup artist, you have to know the basics. And I'm just happy to see that the unions and the productions and are seeing our value and seeing that, okay, they can handle this. They can, when we have to jump through, so like my story, we have to jump through so many hoops just to prove that we can do it. But another thing I have to stress to my people is, when we do get in them doors, don't start acting a fool. You know what I mean? Go and show that you can slay and lay it down and be professional. And be professional. And sometimes that's what shoots us in the foot too, is we get it and we act a fool sometimes. Like, oh, come on now. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We in there. We in there now. Let's act accordingly.
Not understanding that they are judging all of us based on your behavior.
Yeah. And I will say, when I first started, I was one of those. I was loud. If something didn't go my way, I would act a fool. And I was like, why am I not leveling up? And the Lord had to stop me and was like, well, why should I level you up if you're acting this way? If you are not showing who I am through you. So why would I level you up? And so when I got that check, and I was like, oh, wow, okay, Megan, you need to act accordingly so you can get that dollar that's according to your skill set. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you changed. I haven't changed at all. I'm still, if we were at home, I'm still the hood Megan, if you can think. I'm still like, you know, we have fun. But when it comes to work, when I'm on set and I'm working, it's business. People think that makeup is fun and it's a hobby, or it's still a business. I'm still a business. I'm still have to pay bills. I still have to pay employees. I still have to, you know what I mean? So I have to act like a business owner. When you meet business owners, they act a certain way. Invoices have to be paid on time. Everything, because their employees aren't counting on them. So a lot of times, a lot of people who work with me and who are always with me, if I don't get hired, or if I get fired, that's my whole team that's fired. It's not just me. All of us are gone. So I have to show face and be a representative for my team.
Yeah. So you when you talked about when you made the change and you made the level up, but you're still the same person. Sometimes people say, "Oh, you're acting new." No, it's not new. It's a transformation. There are some things that I had to set aside. But it's interesting when my oldest daughter was younger, she heard me on the phone talking to my best friend, and she heard the vernacular that I was using, the tone of my voice, things like that. When I got off the phone, she said, "Daddy, why are you talking to him like that?" And I said, like, what? She's like, the way you were talking to him. I said, because that's my friend, because she's heard me talk in professional settings.
Yes.
And it's totally different than when I'm talking to someone that I love and that I'm comfortable with. We're family. So
Yes.
I'm not going to talk to him. Now, we worked in business together. We were both in the car business. So if we were on the sales room floor, we would talk a certain way
Yes.
because we were selling luxury cars.
You adapt
But
to the situation.
right. But when we're in a bar, the language got really relaxed. So
Mhm.
when people say, well, no, you got new, like, no, you have to adapt to the environment that you're in.
Mhm.
So excuse my French, ladies and gentlemen, but you can't be out there showing your ass
Yes.
when money is involved,
Yes.
especially when it's someone else's money. And like you said, you have an entire team that is relying on you. So if
Mhm.
Megan shows up acting out, that's not only a reflection on Megan, but that's a reflection on her entire team. And they
Yes,
said,
because
we ain't
then
rocking out with none of y'all.
yeah, and one of the things that I had to take account for is when I was acting like that,
Hmm.
I did see some of my team members. I was like, "Yo, we doing too much, y'all. We doing a little too much. Like, let's calm this down." So once I made that click in my spirit and that change, I was like, yo, no more loud music in the trailer, no more this in the trailer. We need a zen zone because when the actors come in here, we can't get in their business. We don't want to know what's going on. Everything changed. And when I made that change, I'm telling you, the jobs kept rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling because they saw a different person. They saw that, okay, she's serious. She really, no, you can't come and tell me you want me to do this face for $25. It's not working like that anymore. You know what I mean? Like my whole everything about my business changed when I saw that. Okay, I need to change this. I need to do this, and I need to do that in order to level up to the. I was looking at, let me say Pat McGrath. She's one of the biggest black makeup artists out there, and I was like, what is she doing differently that I'm doing? Not saying that I want to be her. That's not it. I just want to, I'm looking at what are they doing that I'm not doing, why I can't level up to the next level. What am I doing differently? So everybody gotta come dressed appropriately. One friend I had can't wear Crocs on set no more, like because one person had Crocs on, the foot broke. That's money. You know what I mean? And then once I learned, because I do one day want to produce and do my own films and do things like that and step out of makeup and do that part, I see how much it costs. So when I see that I'm acting a fool and I'm holding up, that's money that people are losing. So now I'm like, okay, I understand. I truly, truly understand why, and then it shows that why they don't hire us. And I was like, okay, no more of that. No more of that.
Hmm. And you said something very interesting. But what is Pat McGrath doing? And I remember them talking about Tom Hanks because they said, "Oh, he steals a lot." No, he looked at other successful actors and he patterned some of the things that he did after them. And
Mm-hmm.
he said that one of the people that he really studied was Jimmy Stewart because he loved the way Jimmy Stewart acted. And I love Jimmy Stewart old
Yeah.
movies. A Christmas Story is just
Yes.
uh, just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So in 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 order to be successful, you have to pattern yourself after successful people,
Yes.
and you
And then
have to
also,
pattern yourself after their habits, please.
yes. And also, you have to see okay, so I'm going to use Tom Cruise. You just said Tom Cruise. What am I good at? He is good at action movies. He's good at that. So he honed in on that type of, that's what helped him get, yes, he does other movies and stuff, but he has a niche. A lot of makeup artists, we don't have a signature.
Mm.
So if you don't have a signature, you're all over the place. Me, my signature is skin. I love to be able to see the real natural skin and
Mm.
for it to match. I want you to look at somebody's face and not tell that they have on foundation, especially on television, because I've seen to where you watching TV and be like, oh my God, why he look like that? Like he looks so bad. It's so much makeup. Why
Like
do they
who
have
did
so much
that?
makeup on? Who did? I've
Like
done
who
it.
did that?
I've done it. And I will tell you, there was one show that I watched, and it was a black actor, and I was looking at, sometimes black men we get they get the hair bumps under here from shaving,
Mhm.
and I was like, who is the makeup artist on that? I searched, researched, and found out who the makeup artist was. She was a white lady, and I messaged her on Instagram, and I said, hey, I want to help you out. Use this for such and such actor. It's going to help his skin and he's going to look better the next time you do. Every time you do it, do this. And we're friends till this day. She was like, oh my gosh, you corrected me, but you corrected me in the way to where I didn't feel like I was less than. I was like, no, I'm not trying to take your job or anything like that. I just want you to look good. Because now people look, if I'm searching your name, trust me, other people are searching your name as well. So use this and use that because, girl, I took a screen. This is how bad I am. I literally took a screenshot of his face and was like, "This is where you need to fix." I hope that helps. And she was like, "Oh my God!" Now the show is like wonderful. Like they're
Wow.
doing excellent. But I'm
Wow.
not. I'm not. Again, I'm an educator. I like to be able to teach people. I like to be able to give you the skills to make you better. Because then at the end of the day, they were like, "Oh, who taught you how to do that?" Megan.
Mhm.
Megan taught me how to do that. Okay, well, I want to learn from Megan. You know what I mean?
So you mentioned something, and I forgot to write that question down, and I'm so glad you mentioned it because that's something that I'm always curious about. How do you get that effect when you're looking at someone and you know that they are wearing makeup, but you can't see it? It's just it looks so classic. It's like skin tone, but they look gorgeous. They have on the foundation and whatever, but it's not
It's not
pronounced.
it's not thick. It's not cakey. That's the
Mhm.
term we use. It's not a cakey
Okay.
look. So for especially on TV and film, because of the cameras that we use, we want to pay attention to the type of foundations and the skincare that we use. So when an actor sits in my chair, I'm huge on skincare. I prep that skin like nobody's business. Um, I even wash their face at the end of the night when I'm taking the makeup off, so there's no breakouts. But you have to pay attention to the foundations that you're using and the undertones. And in order to create that look that you're talking about, you have to understand one color theory and you have to understand skin tones. Not everybody has the same skin tones. For me, I am a neutral. People think I'm warm. It's because I have a warm light on right now, but I'm a neutral skin tone. And because I'm neutral, I need to use foundations and colors that run in that neutral tone. I can't wear a warm tone foundation if I'm neutral because when you go on camera, depending on the lights and things that people have, it will affect how the makeup is going to look on TV and film in the camera.
Mhm.
So, for someone, say, I'll just use myself as a prop. If you look at, well, this arm, if you look underneath and look at your veins, there's colors, right? Your veins are either green, blue, or you see green and blue veins. Me, when I see my veins are green. So that makes I'm neutral. When your veins are, well, mine are both. They're blue and green, so that makes I'm neutral. When they're blue, you're more cool tone. When you're
Mm.
green, more warm tone. So if you look underneath the skin and see what you see, you can match and find the foundation color so that when it comes on, you don't see it. And then it also talks about formulations on the different foundations. If you want somebody to look flawless skin, and to look like there's no makeup, you're not going to use a heavy foundation. You're going to pinpoint conceal things that need to be covered up, if there's imperfections on the skin, you kind of cover those up, and then you kind of use a nice light foundation and not as much powder. That's a whole thing. It's more easy for me to show you physically doing it, but it's a whole process. But to start skin care, nourishing that skin and making sure if somebody is dry in this, my daughter, she has eczema, so she's really dry in this area of her face. So, and she models and acts also. I tell her, before you go to set, make sure you really moisturize in those areas where you're dry, because when you get on camera, you're going to see if it's flaking. You're going to see if something is happening. So you want to prep your skin before. So even for actors, I tell them, hey, let me know what you use before you do it, because then I can make sure that the foundations and stuff I'm going to put on you don't roll off, but come with your skin prepped. I'm going to prep it too. I'm probably going to wipe it off, just me, because I'm a control freak, because I want to know the products and stuff that I put on your face. I'm probably going to wipe it off anyway. But water, you see me, I drink water all day. All this is my language. All damn day, I'm drinking water. But it's really about knowing the undertone, and that's color theory. Some makeup artists don't know color theory. They don't understand the color wheel, what it means, and all that. The primary, secondary, tertiary colors. People don't understand what those are and how they complement and work with and against each other.
So someone on YouTube asked the question.
Yes.
Because you also have a men's line.
I used to. I don't.
Oh,
anymore.
You don't have it anymore. I was going to Google and buy me some. Oh man.
No, I don't even anymore. I did have a men's skincare line.
Oh goodness gracious! I was like, oh, men's. Oh, I'm gonna get me some. If you bring it back, I'm going to definitely be a customer. But someone asked, are there any essential? And I hope I'm getting this right. Any essential kit, skincare, prep tips?
Yes, lots. So I use a T-bar. Most estheticians know what a T-bar is. A T-bar is, I have one, but it's in my kit and it's away from me. But a T-bar is it's a metal instrument, and it's shaped like a T. It's like this, and it vibrates. I like to use that after I tone and put serums and moisturizer on. I like to use my T-bar on the face to make sure that the everything that I put on the skin penetrates and goes deep into the skin. And so what it does is it really pushes all of the moisturizer and the serums and everything that you have in the skin. So I love that T-bar. Is one of my, what happened? Where'd it go? I'm one of those, especially I have certain things in my kit, even if I don't use it for that, I have to see it because I feel like I can't do anything if I don't know it. There's one thing in my kit. Not that I barely use it. I use it a lot for color correction. But if I don't see it, it's by Senna Cosmetics, and it's a cream to powder formula, and it has all primary colors and stuff in it. If I don't see it in my kit, I'm like lost. What am I going to do? I may not even need it for the job I'm going to do, but it's just one of those things that I have to have. And for my skincare, one of the things that I have to have is that T-bar. I feel like that T-bar sets your makeup to a different level because it preps your skin really good. So by the time you put foundation on, it's flawless. I hope that answered that question.
Yeah, JS. I'm sorry, I thought it was Joe S, but I see it's a JAE, so I think it's a young lady.
Yeah.
The importance, because I was listening and see, I learned so many new terminologies today, words. Sanitation.
Yes.
Now, initially, when I turned it on and she started talking about sanitation, I was saying to myself, what does Magen have to do with public sanitation? I'm not getting it. And because I'm thinking, trash man. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no.
So then when the young lady started talking, I was like, oh, so can you explain to the novices or people who don't know the industry what sanitation means within the makeup industry?
Sanitation, a lot of people start it really became a big thing when well, not a big thing. It's always been big in makeup, hair, and estheticians and all this. We've always had to have these standard guides that you in order to do a face. And then once COVID hit, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, sanitation, wash your hands, do this," and I was like, "We were doing that before we even started. Like we were doing that." But basically, it's making sure easy. This is the easiest way to explain it. Making sure that your kit, your utensils, and your makeup is properly cleaned so that you can work on the next person. So for me, I like to make sure that I like beauty blenders. I know that I like beauty blenders. So either I buy brand new packs of beauty blenders, they're sponges that they're little pink egg sponges that we use on the face. Each person that sits in my chair has a fresh, brand new one that I use. I never, just to give you an example, I will never, unless I'm washed them and they're already cleaned, I will never pick up a used one and use it on somebody else. Because what happens is that's how you get pink eye. When it comes to sharpening your pencils, I sharpen my pencil and spray it with alcohol 99. I use 99 because it dries quickly. You can use a 70% alcohol too to disinfect. It takes a little longer to dry, but it kills and disinfects. So you always want to disinfect every little thing that you're using because again, you're working on somebody's, you're in their face. My
Mhm.
hands are in your face. Your nails, like my nails right now are long because I'm not working on a movie, on a project. But as soon as I go on a project, my nails are gone because
Mhm.
everything that goes up underneath my nails, I have to continue to clean and clean and clean and make sure my nails are clean because I'm touching someone's face and skin. So the easy, like you always want to make sure that you clean. I'm a Lysol, Clorox, Pine Sol, Fabuloso, all of the things. I love them, but we do have our own. You have a Barbasol that a lot of barbers and cosmetologists use. I use it as well for metal instruments. So when you go into your barbershop and you get your haircut, you see that thing that's standing on their thing and all their combs and stuff. And that's
Mhm.
called Barbasol, and that's disinfecting and cleaning the utensils so that the next time he has them clean and fresh, it cleans, it kills every 100% of every germ that you can think
Mm.
of. So we like to have that. I keep it in a little spray bottle, a little bottle like this, and I spray it. I even spray down the feet before people sit down because I'm sorry, you don't know what nobody got. Right nowadays, you don't know if they got RSV. What is it called? RSV, COVID, pneumonia, the flu, all the things. I don't want them because I got to go home to my kids, and I don't want to get sick. So I make sure everything's clean.
Hmm.
That's it's sanitation. A lot of people don't. A lot, even for my bridal artist, I used to make sure that I had, if I had the bride, the mother, the bride, bridesmaids, if I had more than 3 people, I had sets of brushes that were separate for each person. They were clean and set for, because I know I'm going to do this face. That's her stuff for that face. That's her stuff for this face. So that I'm not cross contaminating. I've seen it one time where Fashion Week, I used to lead New York Fashion Week, and I saw that somebody got pink eye from somebody because she took the mascara right out the tube and put it on the model's eye. She
Mm.
got pink eye because it wasn't clean. So we want to stop those.
Oh,
Any other
okay.
questions? I love the questions.
Well, JS said, nice. I didn't know that I could use it in a spray bottle as well. Great tip. So, Jay, if you have any other questions, please, while
Yeah,
we're still here,
you dilute it.
ask away. It's a
Yeah.
live show, so ask away.
Yes.
And while we're waiting for anyone else to ask a question, if they happen to have one, I wanted to talk to you about the power of relationships in this business and how
Hmm.
that has helped you on your journey over the years.
Yes. I feel like being truly yourself and being reliable and dependable always makes a strong relationship with the producers because they know that they can count on you to show up and do the job that you're supposed to do. I truly have built my career on literally always being on time. If they call, I pick up the phone and I answer. If I see an email, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. I always try to make sure that, not that I'm overly accessible, but I'm accessible to where they know that, hey, let me reach out to Megan real quick and see if she's available for this. And if I'm not, I always refer somebody who's better than me. I'm always referring. So that keeps those relationships strong. And I always check on people. That's one thing. People are like, "Oh my God," that's why they call me the mom on set. I'm always like, "Hey, how you doing? I was just thinking about you. I ain't talked to you in a minute. How you doing? Everything good?" You know what I mean? I'm always reaching out. And another thing that I tell people all the time, I was just talking to my friend about this last night. I told him, I was like, "Oh, so next week I'm going to look at every single job in the past year that I've worked and reach out to the producers and just reintroduce myself." That's how you keep your relationship alive. Because what happens is it's not that people aren't thinking about you, it's out of sight, out of mind. If they don't hear from you, they forget that you are even, because they're so busy, we have our lives and we're living, we forget. So if I'm like, "Hey, oh, okay, I know I just worked with this producer on this one. Hey, it's me, Megan. We worked on such and such. Just want to reach out and resend my resume to you. If you have anything upcoming in the future or if you need help with anything, just reach out. I'm available." Those are the type of things that make people remember who you are and keep you like, "Oh, okay, I want to make sure that I have her on this one." And me, I'm consistent. Consistent. I am consistent. When it comes to the job, it's going to be done and it's going to be done right always.
Hmm. So that leads me into the thing that I was going to ask you next, which is networking, because you talked about the fact that you are a serious networker. And I'm mentoring some young ladies through the Start with Eight program. Cheryl Bedford
Hmm.
has a phenomenal program, Start with Eight. And one of the young ladies that I was talking to, well, a couple of them, and the one thing that they talked about, because they say they feel like that they're stuck.
Hmm.
And I asked them, "Well, do you go out? Do you go anywhere?" No.
How you
So
gonna meet somebody? You
how
sitting in the
you
house.
right. So one of your assignments is you have to put yourself out there. What's your social media pages looking like? Don't really have any. You gotta I always tell people, ain't nobody gonna know who you are unless you tell them.
Hmm.
So if you're not telling them, they're not just gonna come knocking on your door like, "Hi, I was just walking by and I sensed that there was a makeup artist in here and I just wanted to come and introduce myself." That's not
Yeah,
gonna
no.
happen.
For
So
make Yeah, for
please.
makeup artists, there are so many events and so many things that where you are able to network. One thing that I cannot stress, I love it so much. It helped me in my career is the makeup show.
Mhm.
The makeup show helped me when I really first started and really, really, really took it seriously. I went and I became an ambassador for them and I worked for free. Again, I was working for free, working my little tail off for free. But when I was there, I met so many other artists and brands
Mhm.
that I was able to make a relationship with. And they, okay, we're going to see you again at the next makeup show. I was at every single show. They had one in LA. I was able to get myself to LA and do it and everything. And when I went, it was like a community. It's like when you go to a family reunion and everybody's loving on each other. That's what it feels like. So the first one I went to, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to be in this environment all the time. I need to be here all the time." So I saw that they were doing a show in New York. It's a trade show where they give you pro discounts. You get so much education from artists that you don't even think that you would ever meet in person. People who are working on people, you were like, "Oh my God, that's such and such. They do this person." They're there and able to speak. You can touch them and see them face to face. So I saw that they were doing a show in New York. I emailed the owner and the Shelly. I love Shelly. She's one of my big mentors. And I said, "Hey, I just volunteered and worked for you guys in LA. I would love the opportunity to come to New York. I already bought my ticket. I already have my hotel. I just need to know what time I need to show up and work."
Mm.
And she was like, "Oh, okay." And and when she saw that I was serious and I really wanted to work, she said we have a show in Orlando. Do you want to come? Yeah, okay, I'll buy your ticket and cover this and da 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 da. We're going to be in Chicago. Do you want to come? Yeah, we're going to do a show in Atlanta. You want to? And so I started traveling with them because she saw that I was serious. And what that did is that set me up to when I was doing my own thing, I can reach out to the brands that I met at the show and was like, "Hey, It's my first time being a department head, and you know, I'm looking for products to build my kit and da da da. People, oh, here you go, here you go. Because I was able to meet and work and talk with them face to face at these different trade shows. So for makeup artists, going to little bitty events helps because you might meet somebody, you don't even know who they are. They like I met V Neil. She I don't know if anybody knows who V Neil is. Look her up. She did Beetlejuice. She did all the Johnny Depp movies you can think of. She looked at my portfolio and broke it down to me at the makeup show. It was like, hey, you should do this. Da, 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 da. I get a call. I gave her my card. It was a long time after, never heard. I got a call. Hey, we got your number from Miss V Neil, and she's working on Hunger Games, and we need some extra hands. Are you available? Hell yeah, I'm available. Where I gotta go?
Let me check my calendar.
You ain't
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yep. They didn't even have to. I was like, yep, what time? They didn't even have to finish the sentence. But again, those are the type of connection that you make because one, I'm not. Everybody know I got a big mouth. I talk all day. I'm like a pastor. I can sit there and talk all day and keep going until I get tired. My best friend laughs at me. She was like, Megan, when you're done talking, you're done. I'm like, oh, I'm done. Okay, I'm going to bed. No, I don't want to talk anymore. But you have to stop being scared to tell people who you are and what you can do. That's something that I still struggle with. I still sometimes when people are like, "Oh, you work with this? Are you?" I'd be like, "Ugh." I sometimes it's cringy for me to hear it, but if I don't speak, like you said, if I don't speak and tell people what I can do, who else is going to do it for me?
Mm-hmm.
Even at where I'm at in my level career, I don't even think I'm up there. Like there's so many more people up there above me. But I will say that I will sit there and be like, hey, I have no problem asking. One, I don't have no problem asking people to help me, and I don't have no problem telling people, hey, I know how to do X, Y, and Z. And I remember I was just on the show Harlem, and I felt some kind of way because everyone's like, oh, there you go, Megan, know how to do this, she know how to do that, she know how to. And I sat back and was like, dang, I don't want to be that person where everybody thinks she knows how to do everything. And but then I stopped and I was like, well, shit, you do know how to do it. So why not walk in it?
That's
if
right.
You know how to do it, do it. Show people that you know how to do it. Because then what happens is you seem invaluable. That person always, okay, Megan knows how to do that. I'm gonna call her. You know, Floyd, yep, I already know he can do it, so let's call him.
Mm-hmm.
It may not even be the field, like I know how to do graphic design. There's so many because I'm an all over creative person. So I'm going to say, hey, do you need this? Do you need business cards? Do you need a resume? Do you need that? Again, for makeup artists, because of the way our industry works, you have to have multiple streams of income to stay afloat. It's so right now it's dead. Like people don't understand how slow and dead it is. But because I tapped into my other avenues of creativity, and another thing, I don't do YouTube and I'm not a TikTok person, I do post, but social media pays you.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sit there, you post and you do this, it's going to pay you. And then also it shows people your work. So I don't know why people are so scared. Sometimes don't be scared to boast about yourself. It's okay every now and then in the right settings and the right to tell, yes, I am good at this. Yes, I know how to do this. Because who else is how am I going to know if you can work with me or do anything with me?
Hmm. So JS has been going crazy in the chat. Jay, thank you so much. Jay, I'm going to get to her question, but I just want to read a couple of these comments. When it comes to networking, she said, that's me too. I definitely need to get out to the networking events. I know this business is so much about connecting with people, and you are absolutely right. This is a business of relationships. And if you ain't building no relationships, you are not building a business.
Yes.
You know what? It's no different than Apple advertising the iPhone.
Yes.
They got to advertise it to somebody. They're not just
Yes.
making the iPhone and then sitting it on the shelf. They're letting people know that the iPhone is out there and that they need to go get it. So if you are that makeup artist and you're good at what you do, you have to advertise yourself. We're going to get to your question, Jay, but I just need to say this. One of the things that I teach business filmmakers is the business of film. And when I go and speak at events, the one thing that I always ask the room is, how many business people do we have in the room? And oftentimes you won't get anyone to raise their hand. And I'll ask it again. How many business people do I have in the room? Nobody raises their hand. How many filmmakers? I said, so what you're telling me is if this is your profession, you're not the business.
Yeah.
What are you creating? A product. What are you trying to do with that product? Sell it?
Sell it.
That's a business.
Yeah.
So if you're not thinking in the mindset of you are a business, you are not going to operate in a way that is going to make you money. And if you're doing this as a hobby, that's good. But if you are, it's called show business.
Yes.
It's called show business, but enough of me preaching, because I want to get to Jay's question. And then I have one more question for you, and I'm going to let you go because I've kept you long enough. Let's see. Jay asked the question, any tips for makeup artists just transitioning into TV and film for sources to find work like backstage?
I say is one, what I did. I went on IMDb and looked at all the movies that I liked. I looked at who the department head was and who the key 2 words. You want to know who the department head, key makeup artist. Who are those 2 people? Get their information, because if you have one thing that every makeup artist should have is an IMDb, and you need an IMDb Pro, because it lists all the work that you have and it has your contact information so other people can reach out to you and contact you. Find out who those people are and reach out to them. And then also, one thing that I know helped me a lot is Facebook. These Facebook groups, when I tell you, they post jobs all day, every day. You know, also, I'm no longer in LA. I live out here in Atlanta now. And SCAD, I don't know if anybody has heard of SCAD. It's a school. It's kind of like LA Film School. They have all the things that you need. A lot of the film, they have a film and TV program. If you are new and you've never worked on, because I will say people are going to look at your resume and be like, oh, well, she doesn't know TV and film. They don't know how to work on set. Go reach out to the students that are taking the film and producing class or whatever it's called, and say, hey, I know you guys have projects that you have to turn in. They have to do a film at the end of their program. Reach out to them and be like, hey, I want to do the makeup for it. Can I do the makeup? Because that gives you on set training, and it also gives you IMDb credit, because that's going to go on as a project that you work. Do some of these short films. Also, I don't go on backstage. I've never really gone on backstage before, but Casting Frontier, Actors Access. The reason, okay, so this is a little insider tip. People don't know this one. If you set up a page on Actors Access, I use my daughter's because she's an actress. You can go and see who's filming what and where and who the production is, and it has their phone number. And you can reach out to them and send your resume and your email. People be sleeping on Actors Access and Casting Frontier, usually because it's where people submit their auditions. Mm-hmm. And, you know, they see an audition. I will go on there and be like, okay, I want to do this one. Where's it at? Where's the shooting count? You know what I mean? And I see who the casting director, I can see who the casting director is, and I can see who the director is. And then once you know those, you already know a little bit about that production, and you know who works with those productions all the time. Who do they work with all the time? They work with Lifetime all the time. So now I know I need to reach out to the people there so I can get a job here. Wow. I hope that helped.
That helped so much. And Jay actually said that she was talking to someone about someone actually doing a business class for makeup artists. Hint, hint, hint.
I will definitely. I have my book coming out, and I want to do a class on the business side of makeup, because people don't understand we still have to file taxes as a business. You need to have an LLC, or you need to have a business name. You need to have your DUNS numbers. You need to have all that so you can get paid separate from yourself. You need to have a whole full-on business. So if you do something wrong, they don't sue you, they sue your business. And to cover yourself, you need to have insurance. One thing that taught me is my good friend, best friend, cousin. We've done so many business things together, Melissa. She's called Build with Mel on Instagram. Oh no, it's Missypreneur, but it's called Build with Mel. She's the Olivia Pope of business. That's what I call her, the Olivia Pope of business. And when we were roommates, she was like, Megan, you need to make yourself a business. You need to be not liable for certain things, because what happened is my car got broken into and my kit got stolen. And when I tell you everything, the police were talking to me, I couldn't even concentrate to what they were saying because I was in such a panic that, oh my God, that is my whole life. Everything that I use to make money is gone. And I had no way of insuring it because I was so hung up on what products I had, what this I had, and I didn't cover myself the most important way with insurance and being a business. And if I had known that I needed to have my own business and all that stuff, I could have got a loan and replaced a lot of things. You know what I mean? Or my insurance would have covered and paid for everything. One thing I tell people all the time, have renter's insurance. Renter's insurance covers your car if it's broken into and your stuff gets taken. So I didn't have that. You know what I mean? Those are just little tips and tricks that people don't realize that you need to have. And I learned a valuable lesson that day. I tallied up, my kit was worth $57,000.
Oh my gosh.
All of that money that I put into my kit, tools and hair clippers and all that, gone. Who's going to give me that money back? And the job that I was telling you guys about earlier, where I had to do all those tests and all these things, was 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, so my kit got stolen, and in 2 weeks I was starting that job. I was like, I'm over with. I'm done with it. How am I going to do this? And then I will say my community pulled together and helped me get all my stuff back. But if I had insurance and I insured my kit and I did the smart thing and had my business stuff set up, I wouldn't have been so like, yes, I would have been hurt, but I would still been like, okay, I can handle this. I can fix this. You know, a lot of makeup artists, they don't put insurance on their kit. They don't, yes, you have your car insurance, but you also need that your kit insured. And the way you can insure your kit is one, renter's insurance. People don't realize how much it covers. Actually, it does cover a lot if you get a good plan. So their car insurance, all those things, anything that happens in your car, if your kit isn't, one thing I don't do anymore is ever leave my kit in the car. Don't do that. I don't leave the kit in the car anymore. But, they don't think of the business side. They don't understand that part is important too. You still got to file taxes. And you can build your credit, your business credit, and then that way you can, open a store, or open a brand, or do little things that you can do. And I will say, Melissa taught me that. She taught me that side of my artistry.
Wow, that's great. Rodney Douglas says he's very proud of you. You're amazing and that he loves you.
Thank you. That's my uncle. I love you too. Thank you so much.
So last question. This has been absolutely amazing. I have learned so much, which is fabulous. I cannot wait to read your book. And once I read it, you have to come back on, because once I get into the weeds of this book,
workbook, actually.
That's okay. I do work, because you know what? Here's the thing. I like to learn as much as possible, so that when I'm talking to people, I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to be in there just making stuff up.
No. So that T-square bar does this and that, and they like, Floyd don't know what the hell he talking about. It don't do that. What are you talking about? And no one will ever come on my podcast again.
I totally understand. Yeah.
We want to have that.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's actually done. I'm just waiting to finish getting it published, and then it will be out.
Oh, cool. I will definitely buy it, and I'm going to promote that, because
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you touched on the business of the business, because I know, the makeup artist, look, I just want to do people's faces, and that's fine. But set yourself up so that you can prosper,
Yes.
you know, learn how to do things the right way. And also something that you said, and it just jumped into my head, you know, which is very important. If you're a business and something goes left, they can't come after your assets.
Yeah.
They go after the LLC, but they can't touch you. And I actually
Yes.
had a gentleman do a film, and he didn't have oh goodness gracious, I think it's errors
The
and
insurance.
omission insurance.
The
Yes.
insurance. Yes. The
And
insurance for the
someone
film. Yeah.
slipped and fell on his set
Yep.
and broke their wrist. But luckily, the person that did it was cool, and he was like, "I'll, my insurance will take care of it." I said, "See, that wasn't nothing but Jesus putting his hands on you." I
Yeah.
said,
Because,
because that could have gone so left.
and then the reason why he needed to have that insurance is that workman's comp, because now that the person is out of work, you technically have to pay them because they
Yes.
fell on your set. And I tell also bridal artists, when you're doing brides makeup and you do use something and they have an allergic reaction, that is your fault. You have to cover yourself because that person can sue you because they had an allergic reaction. So that's why you need to have your LLCs and, you know, to cover yourself.
Yeah.
You may not have known that. And that's another thing, makeup artists, you need to know what's in your products before you put it on people's face. Study what is inside your products. If you don't know what's inside your products, you don't know if that person is allergic to something. There's a lot of things that have mineral oils in it. People are allergic to mineral oils. So you can't use a foundation that is basically mineral oils. Some
Mm.
people are allergic to latex. You cannot use an eyelash glue with latex because the person will have an allergic reaction. If you don't know what's in your products, that type of situation can happen to you, and then you get sued and you're
Wow.
responsible for it.
Mm.
So
I
you
hope you
have
guys
to
are listening.
understand all that stuff, have to know all that stuff.
Wow. School is in. This has been amazing. Last question.
Yes.
5 things you wish someone had told you when you first started.
Oh, wow. That's a good one. 5 things. It is not easy. Um, there are times, especially if you're a single parent, there are times you will not be home with your children. You won't be able to see the things that, go to the games and all that stuff because you're on set and you're really trying to build a business. 2, I wish that I had an LLC and a business plan and a business thing set up to where I can cover myself. Um, 3, I wish that I knew the importance of social media and websites and having online assets. People don't understand what that means. Online assets. So if you Google me, you'll see my name everywhere. And 4, the importance, one, of knowing product knowledge, understanding what's inside products and how it works in on the skin. And 5, the importance, I think that everyone should get an esthetician license if you really want to be a makeup artist, a good one. Well, that one, and I want to add one more.
Please.
Knowing special effects. My black makeup artists out there, please learn special effects if you want to be in TV and film.
Hmm.
Those are the things.
Well, Megan, this has been absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you having me on.
Yes, it took me way too long, and I'm like you. I write everything down, and I didn't write that down. And when I did write it down, here we are. So I, I,
Yes,
I
yes.
definitely uh, have to start doing more of that. But again, thank you so much for joining me today. This was amazing. I had such a phenomenal time talking to you.
We got to do it
T H
again. We
A.
got to do it again.
She said, I don't know if that's a typo, but THASFX is my favorite.
Oh, okay. Teaching special effects or
Oh, well, see, there you go. See, I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm learning. There you go. Because I'm like, what is she talking about?
FX makeup.
But
Teaching
yes,
special
we
effects.
definitely have to do this again because this was off the chain. So What's next, and where can people find you?
What's next is my book. It's called Etiquette, On-Set Makeup Workbook. It's basically teaching you all the ins and outs of working on set. It starts with color. It starts with the basics knowledge of makeup, and then it goes on to who's who on set, how to use a walkie, how to break down a script. All of those things are in the workbook. It is 220 pages long. It's really long and really big, but I truly believe that it's going to help new artists. It literally has all the unions in it. It has every brand that gives a pro discount for makeup artists, the pro stores. It has all of that information in this one workbook. I can't wait for it to come out. You can find me on Instagram, Magen the Stylist. You can find me on Facebook. I am on TikTok. I'm not on there a lot, but I just, I'm on there. But yeah, reach out to me if anybody has any questions. I'm on Instagram all the time. I may not see your message right away because I'm literally watching videos and laughing, but I am on there. And then my website, Magen Grays, MUA.
Okay. Well, this was awesome. But see, you said something, and another question popped into my head. I do this every time.
What?
Editors, with color grading. Do you ever talk to editors when they're actually editing a film and they're color grading actors, or they're color grading the scene,
When
and there
when
are
they're
actors
coloring,
of color in it?
yes. So I don't talk to the editors, but what
Mhm,
I do is I talk to my gaffers and my grips and my DP. So usually I have a DP that I work with a lot, and
mhm.
he sends me his color grade of what the movie is going to look like. So now I know what the color scheme of that's important that makeup artists, a lot of times they don't ask that. I've learned that a lot of makeup artists don't ask the same questions that I ask. I want to know what lighting you're using because I need to know how the makeup is going to look on camera. So what are you using? What color filters are you using? Um, all of that is important. So sometimes I have the DP send me their mood board so I can understand what the scene is going to look like. So if it's a really dark scene and somebody's dying or something's happening, I know what the color grade when they're about to go edit, I know what it's going to look like before. So now I know how to do the makeup. So if it's a bright scene, I know that I can be sunny and the skin needs to glow and it needs to because I know what they're going to be looking for in the edit. I like to do makeup to where the person does not have to touch my face after I'm done with it. You don't have to go in and put a beauty filter on it, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
So yeah, I talk to the DPs, the gap, the light, all the lighting people. I want to know what you're doing. I want to know.
Wow. See, I saved the best question for last. So makeup artists, and even if you're on an independent film set, it may work a little differently, but you could still talk to the director to see what type of camera they're using, the lighting, lenses, things like that. So that all helps. But again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining myself and the amazing Magen the
Thank you.
Stylist Grays. This was an absolutely phenomenal show. Please make sure that you follow her on all her social media platforms. Make sure that you buy the book Etiquette.
Yes, it's called Etiquette.
Etiquette, when it
On
hits
set makeup.
on set
Hmm.
makeup, make sure that you go out and get that book. Even if you don't touch makeup, you want to learn how the makeup department works.
Right.
You
Yes.
want to learn how the makeup department works. So even if you don't touch makeup, you'll be able to have an intelligent conversation with your makeup artist concerning your actors when you're on set. It's
Yeah, I
again,
think it's important, especially when a director or producers or whatever, if you're going to interview, I'll have a lot of details on what the person should already know. And if you ask the questions and they can't answer that question, you know that they're not qualified for that job. So,
there you go. That's why you need to get that book.
yeah.
That's why you need to
Yes.
get. Hey, listen, it's a business. We're talking money, and asking the right questions will save you time
And
and
money.
it will save you money. Because let me tell you something: if you got to go to post and clean something up, it's going to cost you some money. I've been there, folks. You don't want to do that.
Yes, definitely.
You don't want to do that. So again, we are now about to end the podcast for real. Ladies and
Thank
gentlemen,
you.
thank you so much for joining myself and the amazing Magen Grays on a Conversation with podcast. You could have been anywhere tonight, but you decided that you wanted to hang out with us for an hour and a half. So again, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to A Conversation with Floyd Marshall Jr. on all social media platforms, so I can continue to bring you amazing, amazing guests like the one that I just had the honor and the privilege of sharing the stage with. And as I've
Thank
always
you.
ended, love this like a hobby, but treat it like a business. Everyone,
Amen.
have an amazing night.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.